Okay, so as you know, I posted I just posted a thing wanting these people their YouTube channel gone. I don't want this person to ever have a YouTube channel because not only are they constantly posting negative videos of people acting like idiots in the public, which I don't like to see that constantly, and I think people should be posting more videos of people helping the community rather than posting videos of somebody trying to treat people like shit and drag people down. By acting very, very, very inappropriately and using foul language in the community. Plus, they call them Karens. They're using that word again, Karen, as a way to basically describe somebody, like a lady or even younger people, to describe that to define who they are, and I don't think that's right. It's derogatory, it's hateful, and it's quite frankly discrimination against everybody that's named Karen. Because while, yes, there are some people with that name that probably aren't the nicest person, like, I've had some problems with people. I mean, like, I'll give you a couple of examples. These are true facts that I've experienced. There was a man that I played baseball with one time on a baseball league, on a very particular baseball league. It's called the Integrated Baseball League in Barrie, Ontario, in Canada, and his name was Alan, and he used to behave so inappropriately whenever he didn't hit the ball or catch the ball, or whenever a team got even the higher point than him, he would get so mad. He would just behave like so inappropriately and behave like very unnecessary, Like, he was a sore loser, I'll give you that. He was a sore loser. In my opinion, he was a fucked up moron. But, just because he acted inappropriately, that doesn't mean every man who behaves inappropriately is an Allen, right? That doesn't mean every man who behaves in a way that isn't very nice to other people is an Allen, Just because of one person, that doesn't define anybody else with that name. You know? Just because one person named Alan behaved that way, that doesn't mean all of them behave that way. You know? And the same with Alana. You know, there was a lady that I went to school with. Her name was Alana. I went to my second high school with. Her name is Alana. And she was very much a bully. And she liked to say things and do things that weren't very nice to other people. She liked to treat other people, you know, and say things about them that probably weren't very nice, you know. She wasn't a very nice person. But yet, you know, I also know other people named Atlanta, and they are wonderful people. They are wonderful people. At heart. They don't go around being nasty to everybody. They don't go around treating people like shit, you know? They don't go around, you know, yelling and screaming and causing a big scene or saying things that aren't true or, you know. Just because of one person, it doesn't mean everybody is like that. So, I don't like the fact that Karen is being used to define that. I don't like the fact that people are using the name Karen to define somebody who acts in such a cruel and inappropriate manner. You know? It's hateful, it's derogatory, and it certainly doesn't define the person at all. There's lots of people named Karen that are really nice people. Probably. You know? There's probably a lot of kind-hearted and caring and compassionate Karens out there that would, you know, treat you with respect and kindness. And yet their names are being slandered on social media and being used to define, you know, somebody who acts in a way that isn't very appropriate. I hate that. I don't like that at all. You know? I hate that. You know? Because it makes, you know, the younger generation believe that everybody who's named Karen is, you know, a troublemaker. You know, like everybody that is named Karen goes and out and acts like this on a daily basis because it's being used to define that behavior. So people are going to associate that behavior with the name. And that's not right. That's not fair. So, I just don't think anybody like this should have a YouTube channel. You know? I just don't think people like this should be allowed to even be on YouTube in the first place if they're gonna be so derogatory and hateful like this. It's disgusting. It's not fair. And it's certainly not okay. You know? And if these morons think that they have the right to do that, well, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something because it's wrong. It's wrong. You know? Just because one person, probably named Karen, behaved that way and started it all, that doesn't mean everybody named Karen is like that. So I don't think it's fair that should be used to describe everybody that behaves in such a horrible manner like that, you know? And yeah, I hate it too. I hate that when people behave in such a cruel, inappropriate manner. But there are words to describe them. There's idiot, asshole, dickhead, shitheads, losers, freaks, you know? Those are all names that are meant to be for that reason, you know? But Karen is not one of them. Karen is defaming somebody. Karen is defaming, it's derogatory, and it's inhumane. And I just don't like it. And I just don't think people like this should have a YouTube channel at all. If they're not going to use the right words for the right situation. You know?